where a kid can be a kid. Home of the world's most famous pizza rat. For decades, it has been the place where kids and families can go to celebrate and have fun. But what's the story behind this iconic pizza chain? In this video, we'll take a deep dive into the history of Chuck E. Cheese from its humble beginning to its current state. Come along as we learn about the man who created the famous rat, how Atari is involved, the rise of the animatronic pizza chain, and the factors that contributed to its decline. We're going on a journey through nostalgia and controversy as we explore the fascinating history of Chuck E. Cheese. For decades, Chuck E. Cheese entertained millions of children as they played and ate to their heart's content. It was the brainchild of Gene Landrum and Nolan Bushnell, an electrical engineer who was also the co-founder of Atari. First, a quick fun fact about Bushnell before we get this party started. Steve Jobs offered him 1/3 equity stake in their newest venture at the time, Apple, for $50,000. He declined, a decision I bet he's still kicking himself over to this day. Where is the DeLorean when you need one? Continuing on, at the time, Bushnell's latest business venture was created due to the small number of places where parents and children can have a fun night out, and these places were going out of business fast. He also wanted to add pizza that could be made in just about 20 minutes with a room full of family-friendly games. I mean, pizza and games to keep all the children occupied? What more could a parent ask for? The original concept was supposed to be dining combined with a carnival feel called Coyote Pizza Time Theater. You may have noticed that there isn't a coyote to be found in any signage, promotional videos, or commercials. Chuck the rat, or mouse, however you want to distinguish him, came about as a big mix-up. You see, what happened was the owners accidentally ordered a rat head instead of a coyote. Instead of returning it, they opted to keep it apparently. But what to do about the name? Coyote Pizza Time Theater just wasn't going to cut it anymore. The name was going to be changed to Rick Rat's Pizza. Sounds appetizing. A pizza place with rat in the name? That's genius. Okay, it's not even close. Apparently Bushnell came to the conclusion as well, so Chuck E. Cheese was born. Believe it or not, he has an entire biography, but we'll jump into that in a few minutes. The year was 1977, and Chuck E. Cheese's Pizza Time Theater officially opened in San Jose, California. For Bushnell's brainchild, games and pizza weren't going to be enough. He wanted more, maybe for the children, but more so for the parents. This is where his Atari background came, and an homage to Walt Disney comes into play. Chuck E. Cheese Pizza Time Theater had these moving animal characters called animatronics that were inspired by Disney World's Tiki Room and Country Bear Jamboree. Originally, they wanted to have singing barrels instead, but where's the fun in that? These animatronic characters formed some sort of singing band act meant to entertain the adults while the children played. Yeah, we were scratching our heads too. Before we get into the junk band cast of characters, let's delve into the namesake's bio. Yes, Chuck E. Cheese has a backstory, y'all. First, did you know that Chuck's full name is Charles Entertainment Cheese? Yeah, we didn't either, but we suppose it makes sense. Well, the way the story goes, Chuck, you see, he was an orphan who never had birthday parties of his own, so he went on to find purpose in his life by hosting birthday parties for other children. He used the $50 he won from a Pong tournament for a bus ticket to New York. Pong was an obvious nod to Bushnell, the founder of Atari, who developed this popular simulation game. Clever. Unfortunately for Chuck, New York wasn't everything it was cracked up to be as he found himself homeless. That had to suck. Things started to turn around when he found himself a place to sleep above a pizzeria kitchen that was run by a friendly Italian chef by the name of Pasquale. It was actually Pasquale who set him up at his restaurant as a singing rat. Who knew Chuck had such a sad past? Thankfully, his homeboy looked out for him or millions of children who would have missed out on the experience that Chuck E. Cheese would bring to their lives. Okay, remember earlier when we mentioned how the animatronics were for the grown folks? You see, Chuck most certainly wasn't the most child-friendly animatronic pest either. Not at first anyway. In the early years, Chuck was clearly a rat rocking a red derby hat, vest, bow tie with a cigar in his mouth, with a New Jersey accent. What a role model, huh? Oh, what was even better, Chuck was an insult comic voiced by John Widelock until 1983, whose jokes would contain sexual innuendos directed at the audience or his fellow animatronics. I know, you're dying to figure out what he looks like. Well, his features were rounded out in the 80s to give him more of a softer rat appearance. A softer rat appearance? Did I just say that? In the 90s, he transitioned from an adult rat in a tuxedo to a sporty teen rat with a baseball cap. He became more modernized in 2012 to look more trim and like a mouse. He's now a CGI rendered rock star, still in a t-shirt and a baseball cap. The older he got, the younger he looked. The good old Benjamin Button effect before it was even cool. Now, about these animatronics, or as they were better known at the time, the Pizza Time players. At first, they were singing portraits before becoming life-size characters. For starters, let's take Helen Henny, the cabaret lounge singer known as Hollywood Chicken. She seemed kid-friendly, but wait, there's more. Dolly Dimples, a saucy piano-playing, blues-singing hippo who flirted with customers for a quarter. We're sure she left children wanting for more. Remember Chuck's homie Pasquale that hooked him up with a crib and a gig? Well, Chuck apparently returned the favor. The only human character whose original purpose was to announce pizza orders changed to announcing birthday introductions due to the high volume of pizza orders. We can see how that plan went out the window. There were dozens of characters over 4 decades, but you get the picture. So far, we have a pizza arcade joint led by a cigar-toting rat with his gang of less than desirable party animals. With the exception of Pasquale, that is. I mean, he was the only human character out of the bunch. You know, this sounds like a formula for success, and boy was it. 50 stores were opened across the US during their first year. It seems Bushnell hit the jackpot with this one. By 1980, Chuck E. Cheese began franchising and publicly trading on the stock market in 1981. Well, not so fast. Something went wrong, and really wrong. Because by 1983, just 2 years later, they lost $15 million. And on March 28, 1984, they filed for bankruptcy for the first time. For the first time would indicate it would happen again. Well, it did, but we'll dive into that later. We hope you're buckled in because we're about to take off. Like any other business, when they strike oil, competitors come out of the woodworks. Razzmatazz came through in 1983 with an animatronic band by the name of the Mouse Orchestra. They bowed out of the competition in 1994. Remember how Chuck E. Cheese's original mascot was supposed to be a coyote? Well, apparently Googlesby did too because they opened in 1985 with their animatronic coyote named Wilbur as their mascot. Bushnell and his associates probably didn't sweat these companies as their main rival during the 80s was none other than Showbiz Pizza. Remember them? We thought you would. As it turns out, Showbiz Pizza Time, which was owned and operated by Topeka Inn Management and run by CEO Robert Brock, was one of their first real competitors. Some dirty dealings went on before they opened in Kansas City, Missouri in 1980, and by dirty, we mean legal, but shady. Brooke was supposed to go into business with Bushnell by having Topeka Inn Management create a subdivision called Pizza Showbiz that was to be in charge of primetime theaters, aka Chuck E. Cheese. Yeah, they were supposed to be partners of some sort, but Brock did some moving and shaking behind Bushnell's back. See, Aaron Fletcher was the leader of creative engineering in Orlando, Florida. Any guess what they made? No? No takers? Well, let us help you out. Animatronics. Rather than continuing with Bushnell, Brock goes with Fletcher instead, demanding to be let out of his agreement, to which Bushnell refused. Brock went forward anyway, causing Bushnell to sue for breach of contract. It took a couple of years, but in 1982, Bushnell won. Brock was ordered to pay an estimated $50 million to Chuck E. Cheese over 14 years. Take that, you dirty backstabber. So now, we have both Chuck E. Cheese and Showbiz Pizza. Chuck E. Cheese led by a rat, and Showbiz Pizza by a bear by the name of Billy Bob Broccoli. Is that an underhanded way to get kids to eat their veggies? By 1981, there were 48 company-owned locations and 42 franchises. They really hit the ground running. Showbiz Pizza was referred to as the Joker to Chuck E. Cheese's Batman. While Brock lost his lawsuit against Bushnell, he wasn't down and out yet. Turns out it was vice versa. Let's go back to Chuck E. Cheese's first bankruptcy filing in 1984. Bushnell found himself $22.8 million in debt due to funding multiple ventures. Who came to save the day? You would never guess. Brock. Showbiz Pizza bought them out. That's gotta hurt. So your biggest competitor whose owner double-crossed you in a deal, yet was given a 14-year span to pay a $50 million judgment, buys you out because you're broke? Ouch. They may have been down, but they were not out. In September 1990, all ties with creative engineering were severed, and by 1992, all Showbiz Pizza locations were rebranded to Chuck E. Cheese. All was right in the world again. Now that the foundation has been laid, what's an actual visit like? When your slogan is, where a kid can be a kid, you need to come through. Oh, and by the way, did you know that both Showbiz Pizza and Chuck E. Cheese used that slogan? However, it resonates more as part of Chuck E. Cheese's history as they used it from 1985 to 2017. Kids could enjoy arcade games, pinball machines, and skee-ball, all while earning tickets used to buy prizes and build up an appetite for some food. Adults can enjoy some beer or a glass of wine and security in believing their child is safe. As far as safety goes, systems. You see, Chuck E. Cheese has a kid check system. When they enter, both the parent and the child or children receive invisible matching stamps, which they show when they exit. You gotta put a positive spin on a camera recording your every move, I guess. Maybe to them, surveillance system has a negative connotation, considering there are vulnerable children running around enjoying themselves. I would hope there's a high-tech video security system in place. Change is evident, however. Through the years, many changes have occurred besides Chuck's look. Starting in 1998, new locations built had Chuck as the only animatronic. His band, gone with the wind. We can't believe they scrapped the blue singing hippo, cabaret singing chicken, and others. The reason why? Kids just aren't into them. In 2017, CEC Chief Executive Tom Leverton told CBS News the revamp was designed to re-engage families and kids with a modern experience. He said it was the biggest thing they had done for the look and feel of Chuck E. Cheese for 2 decades. Leverton also said that kids stopped looking for animatronics years and years ago, and that they would wait for the live Chuck E. to come out. However, fret not, as there are about 50 locations out of 600 that still have animatronics. So, let's talk about that. These locations, known as Studio C layout, run these animatronics by floppy disk. There may be some viewers who don't even know what a floppy disk is. That should tell you something. Like, how in 2023 are they still relying on floppy disks to make something work? Not everyone loves the idea of taking away these animatronics. In 2022, a Massachusetts 12-year-old named Logan Carrero tried to save them from being removed from a Dartmouth Chuck E. Cheese. He said he was heartbroken and that they were adding TVs which are giving kids bad screen time habits.
I've always been fascinated by them, so I thought, when I heard about what was going on, I was very upset about it.
He launched a petition called Save Chuck E. Cheese to keep the removal from happening. I guess he didn't hear about Chuck posing for a pic with a 4-year-old flipping off the camera in 2011 in New Mexico. But if you're into nostalgia, you potentially have a couple more years before they all disappear into the abyss. Remember the gold tokens? Some of you probably have some stashed away in a plastic piggy bank somewhere. Well, they're out of there. In 2016, they were phased out and replaced with a play pass card system, so now kids swipe a card to play instead of inserting coins. Something else that went by the wayside: sky tubes. Apparently, those things were plagued with issues. There had been numerous reports of adults and teenagers becoming trapped inside those tubes. That wasn't the biggest concern though. Cleaning those sky tubes was difficult and resulted in their removal due to the growing health concerns for sanitation. This led CEC to remove many sky tubes as soon as they could. Children couldn't care less about dirt and germs, but parents? That was a resounding nah for them, dog. Moving on to their food, their menu has expanded to include more items such as buffalo wings and salads. Let's talk about their pizza for a moment though. There have been claims that unsold pizza is recycled due to slices not matching up when received by the customer. Obviously, Chuck E. Cheese denies this claim, but let's be honest, haven't we all had much better pizza for less money? You'd think that a chain whose focus is on pizza and entertainment could have come through way better in the pizza department. There was an issue on the horizon that globally affected the economy, and especially Chuck E. Cheese's industry. What was that by chance? The COVID-19 pandemic. Duh. Lockdown in the US began on March 12, 2020. Anyone over the age of 5 probably will remember this. Why? Governments were taking unprecedented actions, people were losing their jobs, and oh yeah, people were dying. As a result, weddings, birthdays, graduations, holiday family gatherings, even funeral services were canceled. Life, as many of us were accustomed to, ended or was on a serious pause. We couldn't do anything at first. Basically, we were forced to shelter in place for months, going stir crazy. There was so much uncertainty. How can we work, get food, or even exercise? Restaurants and gyms were even closed. Outdoor parks had police tape on them. We even categorized sections of humanity as essential and non-essential. And good luck finding disinfectant wipes or toilet paper. Things were serious. Trying to stay afloat, some business transitioned employees to work from home, while some implemented curbside service for almost any and everything. Restaurants leaned into food delivery to stay afloat, relying on delivery services such as DoorDash, Grubhub, and Uber Eats. Now, how does this tie into our story? Chuck E. Cheese was no exception. They began selling pizza on Grubhub as Pasquale's Pizza. They claimed it's made of better quality than the cardboard-like pizza they're known for. You know, like the one they're accused of mixing and matching pizza in. In June of 2020, CEC Entertainment, which is the parent company of Chuck E. Cheese, filed for Chapter 11. If your business model is that you make money off of live entertainment, arcade games, and food, then how could that continue during government-mandated lockdowns? The answer? It couldn't. 50% of their revenue is from games and about 16% comes from birthday parties, aka food. They need bodies in the building. Now, remember, the pandemic began in 2020. However, in 2019, Chuck E. Cheese made a net income loss of approximately $28.92 million US. Make sure you grasp this. They went in the hole for about $29 million the year before the pandemic officially began. So, in 2020, the pandemic lockdown is added into the equation, which didn't help at all. They were the first major restaurant operator to declare bankruptcy during the pandemic. This time, there was no Showbiz Pizza to bail them out. Instead, they created a structuring plan and cleared more than $750 million in debt. Before emerging from bankruptcy, it had over $1 billion in debt. A failed merger in 2019 with a shell company was intended to erase some of that debt. As time moved on, things have semi-returned to normal. There were modifications in place to ensure safety, such as requiring the public to wear masks for basically everything, even restaurants. Business implemented modifications to enhance safety, and boy did Chuck E. Cheese come through with some adjustments. Are you ready? Because there were a lot of them. Temperature checks for all guests at the entrance, hand sanitizing for all guests upon entry. They changed up the check-in process by using photos instead of hand stamps. Stores are cleaned every half hour. There was no more costume Chuck walking around. Well, temporarily at least, based on what we're about to tell you in a minute. Every arcade game must have one player at a time and will be spaced at least 6 feet apart from other games. Birthday parties are by reservation only during non-business hours. Seating areas will allow for social distancing. Salad bars, gone. Chuck E. Cheese pre-packaged salads, in. The last biggie? Well, you remember how prizes were displayed on the wall? Well, they're pre-packaged now. They can't seem to escape the bad press. In August 2022, a black mother posted a video of Chuck E. Cheese at a New Jersey location ignoring her 2-year-old daughter. The person in the Chuck costume came out and offered high fives to a group of children on the stage who all appeared to be white, and then ignored a small black girl who tried to get the character's attention. The mother said that she stopped recording. She then tapped Chucky on the arm to let him know that her daughter was standing right there, and he ignored her. She said the mascot didn't go to their table at all until a manager pushed it to do so. So, now Chuck is discriminated. A rat of all things. Now, let's sum this up. America's favorite party destination for children has scrapped the ban, save for a few locations that still have them, and those that do can't operate them without age-old floppy disks. They've also nixed the gold tokens, removed the filthy sky tubes, is accused of serving up old recycled pizza, and have a mascot who has some dings on his otherwise flawless mousy rep. They also filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy not once but twice. Chuck E. Cheese has been the comeback kid before. Can they do it again? Maybe there's an entire legion of children and parents that hope they do. We hope you enjoyed the journey into the downfall of Chuck E. Cheese. Don't forget to react to this video and share your thoughts with us. We'd love to see them. Until next time.